Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jamesville-DeWitt Central High School here in DeWitt, New York, for what promises to be the best lacrosse we will see this entire season, regardless of result. Hi everybody, Sam Gelfand here, the voice of the Red Rams, as the Victor Blue Devils come in to take on the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams. And why, you may ask, do I promise that this is going to be some high-quality lacrosse? Well, I think it goes without saying the quality of the Red Rams lacrosse team, currently 3-0 this season. Sectional champions last time, in fact, sectional champions 14 of the past 15 years. But the Victor Blue Devils, a Class B team, so a class above the Red Rams as well, is currently ranked number 23 in the United States of America. These are two lacrosse heavyweights squaring off in the center of the ring for your enjoyment tonight. And we thank you so very much for joining us exclusively on JDTV. The national anthem is underway, and the game should be underway shortly after. Both of these teams are currently undefeated. Only one will remain that way in about 2 hours. And now we adjust the mics as we sit back down at the conclusion of the anthem. That's right, Victor coming all the way from just south of Rochester, a Class B school from Section 5. Here playing the Class C Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams from Section 3. I know that some of you out there are joining us from Victor, some of you from Jamesville or DeWitt, but we thank all of you for being here. This promises to be a great matchup. Neither of these coaches are very used to losing either, as the head coach Dan Stone of Victor, a 18-2 career record. This is his second year helming the Blue Devils. Meanwhile, Jamie Archer, the former two-time All-American with Syracuse University, a career record in his 16th season of 290 wins and 33 losses. That's right, a 900 win percentage. Pretty much unheard of anywhere outside of Jamesville-DeWitt. The teams are currently meeting at midfield. Coaches shaking hands. Pre-game sportsmanship. And you can just feel the anticipation building up at the JD Stadium right now, as this promises to be just an incredible matchup. Regardless of who wins or loses, it's going to be a treat as long as you're a fan of lacrosse. Goalie work will be a big sticking point for both of these teams. Brady Robinson in the goal for Victor, who has a 700 save percentage. However, he is beaten by Ian Mcintyre of Jamesville-DeWitt, who is currently working with a save percentage of 786. That leads all of Section 3 regardless of class. And we are underway. Victor takes the first draw or face-off, depending on whether or not it's boys or girls. And this game is underway. You know, it's a good start when you forget the name of the face-off initially. And Victor off to the races early on the attack. We'll see how much they press it. That's Liam Wheeler. Over to Gravino, Thomas Gravino. Thomas Gravino will be one to watch, a commit to the University of Maryland. But first, it is Liam Wheeler, who is rebuffed by the Jamesville-DeWitt defense, one of the most fierce in Section 3, if not all of New York State. Coming in, Kyle Sager, trying to find a line on the side. Over to Jack Herendine, backed off. Herendine leads all of Section 5 in assists. Tried to get one there, but instead it is taken away by Zach Tiffany. And Ian Mcintyre will send the Red Rams on the attack for the first time today. Matt Keeler currently controlling. The Red Rams in a little bit of a rebuilding year this season. Not that you could really say that for a team the quality of the Red Rams, but they did lose 2 All-Americans last year, as well as several Division I and Division III recruits, 2 of their players going to St. John Fisher. Mario Strife now, wheeling around, moving to his left, but he does not have a lane. Strife is physically backed off by Liam Wheeler. So Matt Keeler will pass it around instead. The focal point of the Red Ram attack will be Gannon Kessler and Sam Brazel. As Kessler, behind the X, swings around and scores! And the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams are first on the board.
Red Rams opening goal by number 10, Gannon Kessler.
And you had to imagine that if anyone was going to break this open for the Red Rams, it'd be Gannon Kessler, the Boston University commit. And an immediate collision coming off of that face-off. A flag is down. But Victor has now taken both face-offs. That's one of those big losses that the Red Rams suffered over the offseason. Scott Reeves, the best face-off man in Section 3, who had a .955 face-off percentage last year, headed off to St. John Fisher. And Jack Herendeen cannot retaliate in kind, at least not yet. And already the tempo of this game is just so fast. Both of these teams are very speedy and they are very athletic. Expect some big hits in this contest as well. Victor does have some football-sized players on their roster. Herendeen, Sager passing it around. And this Red Rams defense is really earning their salt. Kyle Sager passing it out. And what a save by Ian Mcintyre! But right back on the attack, and another! 2 in 10 seconds for the Big Mac. Although the pass is interdicted and Victor back on the attack, try for the one-timer, and they overshoot it, going right over the net. But Victor right back to it, not even going to give us a chance to look at the replay. So the Blue Devils hanging out beyond the arc right now. And they finally retaliate in kind. Really, it was just a matter of time. Jack Herendeen puts the Victor Blue Devils up. That is Herendeen's 7th goal of the season in just 5 and some odd games. And the Red Rams take their first face-off today. Now, the Red Rams are very much a defensive team, though that does not mean that they are not proficient on the attack. I mean, with the defensive work that you just saw, how could they not be? It's a miracle they only gave up 1 goal there. So coming in is Mario Strife. Too many men there. And he goes to Kessler. Kessler checked by the long poleman, can't turn around. Has to pass it out, has no choice. So he finds Sam Brazel. Brazel, the sophomore, tries to get all the way up in front of the cage. But now Mario Strife, swinging right, takes the shot on the bounce, and an unfortunate bounce it was. That will remain a Red Ram ball. As coming in is Gannon Kessler. Here he comes behind the back, and there it goes. You gotta give him an A for effort. A tricky little shot over the shoulder. Taking it across midfield, Cam Ryan. Scooped up off the ground by the Blue Devils. Sam Gotham passing forward. That's Kyle Sager. Backwards to Majin. Now here's Liam Wheeler. Going forward. And out of play. You know, the passing game of these Blue Devils is really extraordinary. As Herendeen is fended off, I mean, just look at how they get to the net. And another save by Mcintyre going low. But as I was trying to say, look at how they get to the net. It's all through passing. Rather than using their speed, they position their players so well, and then they're able to see who they got to get it to with almost like a third eye. It's almost something supernatural. A stiff arm there from Liam Wheeler, guarded by Strife. Wheeler gets close and gets it into the net. Liam Wheeler puts the Blue Devils up 2-1. You know, they may prefer to use the passing, but that doesn't mean they can't do it themselves. And the Victor Blue Devils are clearly demonstrating why they are one of the premier programs in New York State.
Victor's last goal by number 12, Liam Wheeler.
The face-off taken by Victor after a bit of controversy, it seems. And Kyle Sager hanging out around the 35. Once again, whether or not you're joining us from Victor or Jamesville-DeWitt, we thank you so very much for being here on JDTV. As no one's getting to that. Charging in now, passed and in. And Thomas Gravino, the Maryland commit, gets his first point on the board today.
Victor goal by number 34, Thomas Gravino. Unassisted.
And the Red Rams are quickly finding themselves in something of dire straits. It's not a position they find themselves in often, but it's one you may find against a team like Victor. And Ian Mcintyre, speaking of sixth senses. Ian Mcintyre has a preternatural ability to track these down, as demonstrated. John Clinton recovering. The junior defender has to pass it out to Ben Skellinger. And Skellinger has to play catch with John Clinton, who is having trouble with the stick. You know, it's really it's a mental game at this point. There's a turnover heading to Victor. Good teams are not used to being down. And the mark that separates a good team and a great team is how you respond to adversity. And sometimes you just don't have the experience to be able to do so quite as effectively. As Gravino having trouble, passes it out. And Mcintyre will once again fend off the danger. But for how long is the question? Clock. Ian Mcintyre is getting his reps in goal. And now Victor hesitant. Re-strategizing, and the wraparound goal does not connect. You know, the Red Rams have played I would say 2 or 3 fewer games than most of the teams in Section 3. But by the end of this, I think Ian Mcintyre is going to lead the section in saves. Though that goal will not help him, as Liam Wheeler finds his second goal of the day. Wheeler with such a quick reaction time there. It was just a little flick of the wrist to get that into the net. Now it is 4-1 with 3.5 minutes left in the first quarter. And these face-offs are really going to come back to bite the Red Rams. They've only gotten one so far today. And you need face-offs to dictate the pace of your offense. Being on the defensive so often can only lead to more goals being scored. As demonstrated by Sam Gotham. 5-1. The Stony Brook commit with his 9th goal of the season. And at this point, I think this game is... There is a danger of this one getting out of hand. If the Red Rams don't start stringing face-offs together, this will get out of hand. Though the bad pass intended for Gotham will not help. Won't help Victor's case anyway. And the Red Rams on offense for what feels like the first time in forever. Clock! Mcintyre trying to get it out of harm's way. Of course, it is always worth mentioning the fact that Victor is a Class B school in lacrosse. Jamesville-DeWitt is Class C. Even the best teams in Class C will struggle against a larger school. That's just how it works. When you have the larger recruiting class, it means you're able to find more talent and put together better teams. It's a simple fact. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some fantastic Class D teams out there that could hang. But it's just so much easier when you're a bigger school. As Gannon Kessler fended off by his opposite number, Ryan Dodge. And Kessler has to get that ball out of Dodge. Finding Sam Brazel, who really hasn't even had any looks so far today, despite the fact that he's leading this team in goals with 12 after just 3 games. So Sam Brazel with the ball. Looked like that might have been a bit of a wraparound check, but the refs will allow it. Gannon Kessler now. Turns around, fires, and bounces it in! Playing to the crowd, Gannon Kessler has earned his moment in the spotlight, giving the Red Rams a ray of hope.
Red Rams' second goal by number 10, Gannon Kessler, unassisted.
That's 10 goals in 3.5 games now for Gannon Kessler. By the way, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we have a comment section here on JDTV. We are looking at it. Feel free to share your thoughts on today's game, as there's a big hit from the Red Rams. Credit that to Alex Binsack. And some more big hits. At that point, that's a little unsportsmanlike. Let's take a look at it. There's the big hit. Recovered. And that's borderline. But the refs will let them play. So feel free to share your thoughts on today's game, including on that play. And if we like what we see in the comment section, we might even read out some of them on the air. And the Blue Devils once again on the attack. Kyle Sager forced off. Sager swinging around, takes the shot. Mcintyre is just too much. 1 minute remains in the first quarter. Jack Herendine passes it out. And a low-slung goal for Kyle Sager. 2/3 of his shots this season are on target, and that one certainly was, and then some.
Victor goal by number 7, Kyle Sager.
That's 10 goals for the freshman. And it is 6-2. And surprise, surprise, Victor gets the face-off. And if you feel like they've gotten all of them so far, you'd be very close. They got all but one of them. This face-off game is really playing into the hands of the Blue Devils. 33 seconds left. And Mcintyre continually challenged so far in this early running. You have to imagine he's responding better than just about any other goalie that Victor has faced this season. But even a brick wall is eventually going to fall down if you hit it enough times with a wrecking ball. So here's Gravino. Gravino hit from behind, doesn't matter. He will prevail. Second goal of the day for Thomas Gravino. And with 7 seconds left in the first quarter, it is 7-2. And for the first time since the early runnings, the Red Rams finally get a face-off. They have 3 seconds to do something with it. They will not. After 1 quarter of play, the Victor Blue Devils are on pace to score 28 goals. I'm just going to give you a moment to let that sink in. I mean, we knew coming into this game that Victor would be the toughest opponent that the Red Rams would face all season. They're number 23 in the entire United States. It's bound to happen that they are going to score, and they're going to score a lot. The question was, how well would the Red Rams be able to keep up? The answer is, on defense, well. Surprisingly well, I might argue. However, they have been giving so many opportunities for the Blue Devils to go on offense that they simply have been on defense for so long that it's just about inevitable. Why don't we take a look at how these two teams are doing this season? As we mentioned, both teams are undefeated, though the Blue Devils do have a few more games under their belt. That rating you see, you can think of it kind of like a Madden rating, where your Super Bowl winning teams are going to be around 95, 96, and the Blue Devils are at 93.6. The Red Rams are only at an 82 because they have not faced the strongest opponents this season. Their average strength of schedule only 75 compared to 84.5 for the Blue Devils. Their goal differential, though, is still pretty staggering. It goes the way of the Blue Devils, but both teams have a tendency to outscore their opponents by a good margin. That being said, the Blue Devils are ranked 3rd in New York State, 23rd in the United States. Because of their lack of games they have played and the lower quality of opponents, the Red Rams are currently at 72. I guarantee you, though, as this season goes on, that will change. Opening face-off in quarter number 2 is underway. And what a shocker, it goes to the Victor Blue Devils. Thomas Gravino slowing it down. With a 5-goal lead, Victor doesn't have to be at the same brisk pace they were in the first quarter. They have a comfortable cushion. They can take their time. They can wait out the clock a little bit. Though Gravino hustling, at least momentarily. Gets a little further inside to Wheeler. And he is rebuffed by the Red Rams. Now JD on the attack. Alex Binsack forced into a corner. Double teamed, has to get it out to Ian Mcintyre. And the Blue Devils are running the lacrosse equivalent of a full court press. Aiden Bates momentarily literally drops the ball. He's got 5 goals and 3 assists on the season in just 3 games. Nothing to sneeze at. The basketball standout has been quite useful on the lacrosse field as well. He's versatile. And so is Sam Brazel, who currently has possession. Here's the sophomore attacker whipping around, and it falls out of the stick. And picked up by the long poleman, Dominic Pezzamenti. Pezzamenti, by the way, has an assist on the season. And now the goalie, Brady Robinson, taking it to midfield and then some. Mario Strife trying to push him off, and finally he dumps it out to Sam Gotham. Something JD hasn't really seen since the days of J-Mo McLaughlin, their goalie who graduated last year, the 2-time Under Armour All-American who's now at Stony Brook. Herendeen to Gotham. Gotham fighting off Keeler. And Mcintyre is still just too good. So we got enough time to show this to you again. These teams work so quick that it's not a guarantee. Still it's 7-2, and the Blue Devils are threatening to score again. And Mcintyre with yet another save off his stick. At this point, you're wondering, how are you going to put a highlight reel together for this game? Because you've got a plethora of options to choose from for Mcintyre. Including another. And the Red Rams get that out of harm's way. Now Keeler, forward to Strife, pass too high. And a big hit from behind. Strife, hey, at least he's putting in the legwork to try to get it back. And Thomas Gravino just shook his defender out of his shoes. And scores as well. The cherry on top of the cake for Thomas Gravino, who now has a hat trick.
Victor goal by number 34, Thomas Gravino, unassisted.
There's certainly a very different vibe in the JD Stadium right now. It's not one that, frankly, this place is used to seeing. I mean, once again, head coach Jamie Archer of Jamesville-DeWitt has been here for 16 years, and he has only lost 33 games. That's what, 2 a season? Mcintyre can't track it down, could be dangerous. We know for a fact that in 2010 and 2011, the JD teams were undefeated 2 years in a row. At that point, they were ranked number 1 in the United States. Very much in part thanks to Jamie Archer's coaching. And another one off target. Archer in the offseason actually worked with Syracuse University's team. And Victor continues to pile it on. This time it's Pax Marshall.
Victor goal by number 28, Pax Marshall.
Marshall is third in Section 5 in goals scored, fifth in total points. That's his 19th goal of the season. So that's what, an average of 4 a game? I don't know, I'm not good at math. Someone in the comments, tell me if I'm right. Either way, Victor back at it. I mean, if you could keep track of time of possession in this game, it would be so unfairly weighted as a timeout is taken. That's a Victor timeout. So why don't we quickly take a look at the history between these two teams. This is the 6th time that Victor and Jamesville-DeWitt have played each other. Their first matchup coming in 2014. JD has taken the series so far 3 games to 2. Last time these two teams played each other was on May 13th, 2019. JD won that 12-9, but here's the interesting thing. We do these for most matchups, for most games here at JD TV, where we have the average score at the bottom as well. This is the first time ever in any JD TV broadcast that we had to use decimals because it's just that close. If you round it, it's an average score of an 11-11 tie between these two teams. So with the decimals, JD barely wins out 11.4 to 10.8 on average. And this may be a bit of a trend bucker this game, considering that the home team has won all 5 games between these two. 3 games held at Jamesville-DeWitt, 2 at Victor, and each time the home team won. As the timeout expires now. And by the way, if you're a Red Rams fan, you'll want to join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. for baseball against Cortland. Very excited to bring you some more baseball. And I don't want to make any promises, but I am trying to see if we can get a special guest on the air. So you may or may not want to tune in. But in the meantime, keep watching for Ian Mcintyre. I mean, at this point, Mcintyre has to be at, what, 15 saves? I'd keep track if I wasn't already doing 3 things at once on this broadcast, but it's a large number for sure. And Mcintyre, just a junior, I mean, the Red Rams get another year out of this kid, too. Mcintyre, by the way, has already committed to Florida Southern, which is one of the best junior college athletic programs in the entire United States. Trying for the one-timer, and that's some ferocious defense. Hard checking from the Red Rams. Number 4 for Gravino. Thomas Gravino is heating up.
Victor goal by number 34, Thomas Gravino, unassisted.
And by the way, if you're starting to ask yourself whether or not this is starting to get a little unfair, this is why schools are generally classified to only play teams of their same class. Class B teams usually play Class B teams. Class C teams usually play Class C teams, and this game is an exception to that rule. And so far, the face-off wins pretty much mirror the score. Victor taking 11 to just 2 for JD. And Alex Binsack, I mean, he had some very big shoes to fill with Scott Reeves leaving for St. John Fisher. Has a .688 face-off percentage in this season so far, but that has certainly suffered tonight. Now Sam Gotham winds up and off the stick of Mcintyre. Out of play as well. Pax Marshall with number 2 today. There ain't much more to be said. The Blue Devils are looking unstoppable.
Victor's goal by number 28, Pax Marshall, unassisted.
I mean, Victor's shot selection has, as one may imagine, been pretty stellar as Jamesville-DeWitt will take the timeout. And I would venture to say that's the first timeout the Red Rams have taken this entire season. They're not one to do so very often. You know, I've been told in the past, Jamie Archer is very much a point-and-shoot type of coach. He's one who lets the kids play unless he sees something that needs to get fixed. He trusts in the raw talent of these kids and lets them develop it on their own. He's just kind of there to point them in the right direction, and that's very much what the Red Rams need right now, down by 9. And to me, you know, from this viewpoint here in the press box, I don't think the Red Rams are playing that bad of a game. I really don't. Their defense has been very competent. You could call it better than competent. But they're just giving Victor so many opportunities to go on offense. The Red Rams offense has been good today as well. They've only had, what, 3 or 4 trips to the opposite cage and they've scored twice? So they're converting on offense. That's not the problem. It's just that they aren't getting to go on offense. They got to force those turnovers, and this will be a very different ballgame. And hopefully, for the Red Rams' sake at least, Coach Archer has a couple of ideas on how to make that happen. And the faceoffs continue to mirror the score as Liam Wheeler is hanging out right now. Pax Marshall now, passing it around, and like I've said, Victor can afford to just kill some time here. No need to run up the score. You're up by 9. You don't have to be pressing the attack constantly. In fact, some might argue that continually pressing the attack might be a little unsportsmanlike. Although the Red Rams will welcome that opportunity. They don't get it for very long. And that was the worst pass of the day, and that's saying something. For Victor anyway. And there is a turnover forced by Ryan Brazel. And Ryan Brazel shakes his man. Brazel, we have long talked about being the most physical athlete on the soccer pitch, and now here's Matt Keeler. And it's a great save by Brady Robinson, who was forced into the net, nearly knocking it out of place. 2/3 of the way through the second quarter. Here's another look at that shot on goal as the Red Rams make a quick line change. A nice little shot into the corner by Matt Keeler, although it didn't pan out. Brady Robinson, a very, very competent goalie. He's heading to Canisius. Canisius? Canisius. I'm not from here. He's heading to Canisius in the fall. As Herendeen passes it to Gravino. Herendeen going around the horn. Sager trying to get closer. And Zach Tiffany makes it harder. And Gravino from out of nowhere. Thomas Gravino is on fire. 5 goals for him today.
Victor goal with his 5th of the contest, number 34, Thomas Gravino.
5 goals in less than 2 quarters. No wonder he is the number 48 recruit in the entire United States. A 10-goal lead held by the Blue Devils now. Sam Gotham hoping to grow it. Gravino checked in the back by Strife, and there's a turnover. Tiffany has it poked out, heading towards the sidelines. Patchin can't get a hand on it, metaphorically anyway. It's Connor Magin. I mean, what did I tell you at the beginning of this contest? Win or lose, this is going to be the best lacrosse we'll see all season. And if you are a lacrosse fan, this is a treat to watch. As Liam Wheeler passing it in, and an underhanded goal. Pax Marshall with a hat trick.
Victor goal by number 28, Pax Marshall.
Marshall, the junior, slinging that thing in there.
Assisted by number 12, Liam Wheeler.
An assist for Liam Wheeler. And in terms of hat tricks, all I can think of is just quoting Star Wars. This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them. But hey, the Red Rams on offense. Sam Brazel to Gannon Kessler, and it is going to be up to the 2 of them to spark a Red Rams rally. Kessler swinging around, scores! And all 3 goals for the Red Rams today have come from the stick of Gannon Kessler.
Jamesville-DeWitt goal, his 3rd of the contest by number 10, Gannon Kessler. Unassisted.
Boston University's getting a good one. Forget the Terriers. He's a pit bull out there. .150 left in the first half. And the Red Rams starting to string together, well, at least 2 face-off wins. It's the most in a row they've had today. Minute 30 left in the first half. And you have to imagine there will be some mighty large halftime adjustments made by this Red Rams squad. They're still down by 10. But, you know, if you have to take a silver lining from this, as Aiden Bates has to pass it to Kessler, silver lining to being down by 10, hey, this is your time to experiment. Try some new things, see what might work. Mario Strife getting closer. Not close enough, clearly. Kessler swings it out. That's Brazel. Brazel spinning around. Tries to get closer. And it is stopped at the last moment by Brady Robinson. 40 seconds. Cam Ryan down to Gotham. The Blue Devils might be thinking, wait out the clock, get that last shot off. They certainly have the capacity. As Gravina will charge in now with 15 seconds left. Fighting off Brazil. Out to Gotham. And Mcintyre puts the kibosh on that shot. And that ends the first half. Love it or hate it, it's an electric half of lacrosse. The Victor Blue Devils leading 13-3 over the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams, who have some catching up to do. Only one way to find out if they'll be able to narrow this lead, and that's by sticking with us here on JDTV. We'll be back in 8 minutes with the start of the second half. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Jamesville-DeWitt High School here in DeWitt, New York. As you just witnessed a microcosm of what this game has been so far. Face-off after face-off after face-off taken by the Victor Blue Devils, and it has allowed them to pull ahead 13-3 after one half of play. As Kyle Sager is backed off by Matt Keeler. Once again, the story of this game is that, clearly Victor has earned their place as number 23 in the United States. It's not flashy play, but it is just so technically proficient. The Red Rams defense has been doing its job, and they've been doing it well, but they have just been forced on the back foot so often, as there's a save by Ian Mcintyre. When you're constantly on defense, you're going to be forced to let some go, and that's what the story has been all day. McIntyre's save numbers have to be through the roof right now. And Robinson made a good save, and he wouldn't have gotten that second try had it not popped out of the stick. Ground ball recovered by Pax Marshall. And the Red Rams defense swarming. And once again, this is good defensive play by the Red Rams. They're looking solid, as you would expect from a team of their caliber. Consistently one of the best programs in New York State over the past 20 years. And McIntyre sends another one out. Jack Herendeen now. The sophomore already has a goal today. A knock at another. Backed off by Skellinger. Right back to Herendeen. Sloppy pass, and he takes advantage of it. Number 2 today for Jack Herendeen, the sophomore.
Victor goal by Jack Herendeen. Unassisted.
And it's 14-3. And all it took was one mistake from Ben Skellinger for the Victor Blue Devils to capitalize. That's nothing against Skellinger, that's just how good this Blue Devils team is. It just takes one small mistake to send your entire house of cards crumbling down. And now we're seeing the Red Rams get a little bit more physical. Surprised it didn't happen earlier in the game, to be honest, but that seems to be something that head coach Jamie Archer may have stressed in his halftime speech. And I have been down on the field during a loss for Jamesville-DeWitt, one of only a couple games they lost last season, actually. They were 16-2. And win or lose, he is not a fiery coach. He's very soft-spoken and very targeted with his words. So there was no yelling involved, I'm sure, but I'm sure that they could hear the forcefulness in his voice. Speaking of force, Ian Mcintyre is a... Well, hold on. What's the referee saying? Oh, there was a flag on the play, it seems. And so Victor gets possession back. And so we're back to the same old song and dance. Herendeen, Sager, and hey, pass is tipped. Zach Tiffany has been a bright spot for the Red Rams today. Tiffany's just a junior. He has so much skill. He has a goal this season. Had a goal last year, too. And right in his face! He and Mcintyre will not be denied! And a bad pass dropped by Aiden Bates, who now has to get real physical. And Sam Gotham is showing some toughness. From forever and a day away, Ian Mcintyre no less successful. Now Matt Keeler passes over to Aiden Bates, takes it across midfield. Bates will slow it down. I think this might have been the Red Rams' first or second trip on offense this entire quarter so far. Just a symptom of how this game has been. And Sam Brazel has it poked out of his stick right in front of the net. Robinson sends it out all the way down to Alan Miller. Slowing it down now, Kyle Sager. And there's Thomas Gravino, the Maryland commit. And there's another goal for the Blue Devils, the third for Jack Herendeen. He has a hat trick too. The third player on Victor to score a hat trick today. Herendeen, the sophomore, leads Section 5 in assists, but that has not been where he's been making his contributions today. Hasn't been any need. And Sam Ricci, the face-off man for Victor, has just been all sorts of impenetrable. I've just been informed that we have been switched to a running clock for the remainder of this game unless the Red Rams make it a little bit closer. Sam Ricci, the face-off man, just a junior, but he is committed to Cornell. He's going Ivy. A .784 face-off percentage coming into this game. That's good for third in Section 5. I don't even want to know who the first two are. As the ground ball is scrambled for, and it looks like Gravino will get it, or will he? Trips over it for a moment. A lot of people have been doing that today. There was some rain earlier. Could be messing with the turf conditions. And don't forget, once again, ladies and gentlemen, that we do have a comment section, and we're always looking to hear your feedback. So if you have a thought on today's game, feel free to share it with us. We might even read it out on the air if we like it. That being the key, if we like it. Don't disappoint us now. As Connor Majin swinging around. Now it's Gravino, who's never disappointing. And Pax Marshall. It's someone in the corner we can't see. That's Herendeen. And that's a goal. Liam Wheeler with number 3 today. That is 4 Victor Blue Devils with a hat trick.
Victor goal by Liam Wheeler.
And I will restate once again, just because I feel like it needs to be restated again. This is not an indictment of the Red Rams defense. It is certainly not an indictment of Ian Mcintyre, who has been stellar today, all things considered. It's nothing against the Red Rams. It's just everything for Victor. And frankly, if you're a fan of the Blue Devils, you must feel pretty used to this by now. I mean, honestly, enjoy the feeling while it lasts. It's a nice one. As Sager comes round, doesn't work. I mean, the Blue Devils have an incredible legacy of success. Their lacrosse team was only founded in 1999. And so despite being, 23 years old? 4 state championships, 8 section championships. As the Red Rams gain possession, I would hate to know what the time of possession difference is for these two teams. And Sam Brazel puts a point on the board for the Red Rams.
Red Ram goal by number 23, Sam Brazel. Assisted by number 4, Mcintyre.
A beacon of light, a little ray of sunshine. Sam Brazel's 13th point of the season. 13th goal anyway. He's got 6 assists as well, leading the team in both categories. And I will admit the clock is a little bit off on your screen right now because I keep forgetting that there's a running clock and I keep instinctively hitting the thing every time someone scores. So it's about 30 seconds behind. Just keep that in mind. Obviously, it'll be fixed for quarter number 4. And a shot off the stick by Gannon Kessler. Great save for Brady Robinson. And this is what I've been saying. If the Red Rams and the Blue Devils had the same number of face-offs in this game, this score would be even. So yes, Thomas Gravino may have 5 goals. Yes, there may be 4 different Blue Devils who have hat tricks. But in my opinion, the undoubted MVP of this game, at least so far, has been Sam Ricci. And you got to appreciate Mcintyre still remaining hyped up, despite the score. I mean, he should be. He's putting on a heck of a performance. And the Red Rams will benefit from the turnover. It's only 5 seconds on the clock. The Red Rams want to get one up before we head to the 4th quarter. Behind the back pass attempted to Keeler, but that's the end of quarter number 3. And the Red Rams are currently down 16-4. Hey, it's... No, wait, that's a... I think I did the math wrong. That's a 12-goal lead. Yeah, I'm about as good as math as the Red Rams have been at face-offs today.
Hey, ouch. Hey.
Just a joke. Just a joke, Mr. Goodson, our athletic director. Just a joke.
All right.
I know who signs my checks.
Let's do knock-knock jokes. Let's not knock-knock on the Rams.
There is no knocking on the Red Rams tonight. I mean, you know, let's go for a little history lesson. And a little lesson in coming up with puns. Victorious. Just want to point that out. Here's why, if you follow Section 5 lacrosse, you knew that this wasn't going to be the closest contest. 2015, state champions. 2016, state champions. 2017, state champions. 2018, state runners-up. 2019, state champions. 2021, sectional semifinals. It was an year. But by and large, I mean, this team has just been on an absolute tear over the past decade or so. And now the fourth and final quarter begins. Ricci with yet another face-off. It is just unfair. The Cornell commit is just so good out there. That's Braden McConville. Have to imagine the Blue Devils might put in a few subs at this point. Herendeen passes out. Herendeen still controlling this attack. And you know what the scary thing is about the Blue Devils is that this is an extremely young team. There's only a few seniors on this squad. The large majority of this team is juniors. As that's picked up by Sean Bonig. Now Asher Irwin fires a shot stopped at the last moment by Mcintyre. Certainly has the situational awareness and the overall wherewithal. And so Carson Corona passes it to Luke Patchen. Shakes a few. And there was an opportunity for Sean Bolin right up in front of the net, but the pass was off the mark, bounced out of his stick. And picked out of the air, playing 500, it's Sam Brazel, who gets right up in front of the crease. And it is just shy, low and to the left. But a great heads-up play from Sam Brazel. As 10 minutes remain in this game, running clock still in effect. And we have a new record for the worst pass by Victor today. There's only been 2 of them. There have been like 2 bad passes the entire day. Big hits from Matt Keeler asserting his dominance. Showing him who owns the road. Asher Irwin. And now it's Adam Usselman. Bonig. And that pass taken away by Skellinger. And by the way, you know, we've been talking about the difference between these Class B and C schools today. The Red Rams have one of the larger rosters in Class C with a 26-man roster as Matt Keeler passes forward and stopped by Brady Robinson. No, wait, that ain't even Robinson. That's Rylan Seeger. The junior goalie, that's his first save of the season. So the Red Rams have one of the largest rosters in Class C with 26 players. Victor has 32. I can't even fit them all on one page. And these are the advantages afforded by being a larger school. You have larger rosters, more depth, and simply by having a larger talent pool to choose from, you're able to find more talent. And Luke Patchen doing everything in his power to get that ball. Except that Usselman came up with it. Usselman loses it for a moment. Red Rams defense tenacious. And a line change for both of these teams, each subbing in a couple. Like I said before the end of the first half, you know, this is your time to experiment. It's your time to get some people some playing time, to try some new things, see what might work, what might not. Because frankly, down by 12, you don't have to worry about the stakes. This is like the point where you're playing Madden and saying, you know what, I'm just going to run Hail Marys every play, just for fun. Yeah, why not run a Wildcat offense? Why not let the goalie carry it all the way out to midfield and then some? See if Mcintyre can get himself a goal on the season. Which, by the way, J-Mo McLaughlin had one last year. And it was very impressive. He took it coast to coast. Matt Keeler shedding some bodies. Looking for an option, can't really find one. Has to settle for Luke Patchen. Patchen, just a freshman, he has 1 goal this year. Tried to find Mario Strife, but the pass, well, I mean, there was just so much trouble there from the Victor defense. I believe they hit his stick as he was trying to pass it out. Not much you can do about that. I mean, the Victor defense clearly is good. It has to be the number 23 team in the United States. But I'm going to make a bold claim. I think the Red Rams defense has been better tonight. I do. I just think it's a matter of weighted time of possession. As Ian Mcintyre once again proves that he is a premier lacrosse goalie. It's just a matter of time of possession. If Victor was on defense as much as the Red Rams have been in this game, the score might be flipped. I honestly believe that. Let us know if you agree in the comments. We're still looking at him. And there's a turnover. Victor with possession. 4:40 left in the game. That's Jackson Slavny and Ryland Seeger. Which, by the way, Ryland Seeger not to be confused with Kyle Sager. EA versus AE on the spelling. And wet conditions, Sam Brazel trips, still able to shovel it off in time. And Mario Strife hits the post. Victor actually has 3 goalies on this roster. Brady Robinson, Ryland Seeger, and Zach Pavia. Patchen tries to hit Bates, goes right into the stick of the long poleman. Pass off the mark, and it yields a possession for Jamesville-DeWitt. Decides not to take the shot immediately. Does Kessler. Winds up, fires, and it's wide. And possession goes to Victor. Crowd not happy about it. Saying the Red Rams player was closer to the ball. I can't necessarily disagree. And there's Mario Strife still putting in the effort. And you know what? These are the kinds of things that coaches love to see. When you don't give up, you still play with 100%, no matter what the score is. Behind the back pass to Sam Brazel. Brazel weaving round. Tries for like a 3rd time. A flag flies. Could Brazel do it all himself? He has the talent, the skill, and the 100% concentrated power of will. Sam Brazel with his second of the day.
23, Sam Brazel. Unassisted.
And it's 16-5. And the running clock stops now that it's not a 12-goal deficit.
Say what? Why?
We've been just
5 minutes it just runs that new rule?
apparent. It is being communicated to us in the booth that apparently the clock continues to run once you're under 5 minutes, regardless of whether or not the gap is closed. Well, anyone better versed in the NFHS rulebook than us, please let us know if that's accurate. 2 minutes left in the game then. And perhaps for the last time this game, just take a look at these face-off numbers. Sam Ricci making such a difference out there. 20 face-off wins for Victor, just 5 for the Red Rams. And Mcintyre with another great stop. Zach Cooney right in front of the goal, still nothing he could do about it. Once again, if you're looking for highlights, you're looking for positives from this game, Ian Mcintyre could put together the kind of highlight reel that players often need to use an entire season to gather that kind of footage. He can do it just tonight. He has looked stellar. He's given up 16, but he's probably made twice as many saves. And speaking of stellar, out of nowhere, Sam Brazel completes a hat trick.
Red Ram goal with his third of the game. Number 23, Sam Brazel.
From the 20-yard line. From the 20-yard line, Sam Brazel fired a rocket that would have showed up on NASA's radar. And Mcintyre with another stop. 25 seconds remaining in the contest. Fancy move from Ben Scalinger. Red Rams would love to bring this within 10. Scalinger sails it wide. 10 seconds left, and this is just about all she wrote. Trying to get one more off. It's not on the cards. The Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams suffer what I have to imagine to be the largest loss in several years. The Red Rams fall 16-5 to the Victor Blue Devils, who are ranked number 23 in the United States. And you know what? There's no shame in that. Because in order to be number 23 in the United States, you have to be there for a reason. And Victor certainly demonstrated that reason tonight. And the Red Rams were able to hang in at least some sort of capacity. I mean, Ian Mcintyre looked phenomenal tonight. The defense was very competent. Sam Brazel with 3, Gannon Kessler with a couple. But no matter how they played, that's not going to change the final score. Thank you so much for joining us here on JDTV for this entire broadcast. My name is Sam Gelfand, the voice of the Red Rams, alongside my cameraman Nick DeCaney, and all of us here at Jamesville-DeWitt High School. Have a very good night wherever you may be.